we got to move on to the next movie review. Drastin, you don't get to chime in on this because you're not a Beverly Hills Cops fan, which is sad.
What's Beverly Hills Cop?
Come on, man. You watched the original at least? Have you seen the original?
I have not.
He grew up in the Bible Belt, man.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to watch it.
Okay. That's okay. You know what? You can just sit there and think about what you just said.
I like Eddie Murphy.
Next time,
he
lie
was
to
the
me.
donkey
Just
in
next
Shrek.
time, lie to me. He was the donkey in Shrek.
I like waffles.
All right, Tone, I'm going to come to you on this one, man. So Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley is out now. It's on Netflix. I had very, I don't want to say low expectations, but I just wasn't super excited for this.
Sure.
The trailers look promising, but, you know, it's Netflix, which isn't great.
Yeah, that's not a good
That's not a guaranteed hit.
Yeah.
And we saw what happened when Eddie revisited another 80s classic in Coming to America.
God damn it.
And that was just kind of a misfire, in my opinion. It didn't even come close to touching the
I think
original.
most everybody agrees it was just kind of a what the fuck.
So here we are. And the thing about Beverly Hills Cop is Beverly Hills Cop 3 was just a bad movie. It just wasn't good. Eddie was in the middle of just that horrific slump in the 90s where he was just dud after dud after dud. Pluto Nash, this. I mean.
Thought you were a big fan.
I was not.
Wait, isn't that Golden Child?
No, that was, I think that was a little bit before. I think it was a little bit. But so this comes out, Tone. And you know what, dude? Like, for a Beverly Hills Cop film, I feel like this movie is probably the best sequel. But that isn't exactly saying a lot.
It's not.
Because the first one was so good. The second one just felt like a cash-in. It was basically kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
Just not nearly as good. The third one was a travesty.
Yes.
And this one comes out, and the thing, man, I mean, there's always one. There's always one.
One in the crowd, man.
Of course,
Trick thought Beverly Hills Cop 3 was dope, and that's why I love you, Trick.
I
You're
did
not
too,
afraid
Trick.
to admit those sort of things.
Yeah.
And that takes balls, man.
Yeah, balls, man.
That takes balls.
Soccer ball size.
I didn't think it was that bad.
You've never seen it.
I was going to say, if you've seen Beverly Hills Cop 3 and not the original, you're doing it wrong.
Now, this is Beverly Hills Cop
Axel Foley.
Ahmed?
Aquel?
Foley.
Serge. I'm going to just say right now, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck them kids. Vulgar Eddie is the best Eddie.
First thing I was going to say, and we've been
Boom.
saying leading up to this entire thing.
Rated R.
The fact that it got rated R was a good thing. I was really even worried with rated R how Eddie was going to be. Well, apparently his kids have finally grown up.
Yep.
So he can be a shitbag. There's plenty of swearing out of his mouth.
You got that attitude.
All of it,
Yes.
which was already great. I went into this with really low expectations. I came out of it. I actually enjoyed the movie. Now, enjoying, of course, is still subjective. There's a lot of layers of that, right?
Sure.
Like, there is a lot of bad about this movie that could have been much better.
Cringe.
The first one I'm going to say was the biggest one that I was really wanting the most of and I got little of was Judge Reinhold.
Yeah.
There was not – I get what they were trying to do there because of the story.
Sure.
But I feel like it almost could have been like him and Taggart could have switched roles. Love that Taggart was still involved, and it makes sense to some degree. But like, Judge Reinhold was one of those guys growing up that
he's an 80s icon.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And like, I grew up during that era, so like when you see a guy like him being kind of a slime ball or like a sidekick, like that's a guy you want because he just fit those roles really well. I really enjoyed when he did those roles. So I wanted more of him, and there wasn't enough of him. I felt like that. The actress that played his daughter, I said this right away as well too.
Taylor Page.
I don't know if she was I don't know. I felt her and Eddie didn't have any chemistry, and I really just didn't like her performance overall.
Sure.
I just felt like I maybe it was because of the way her character had to be. It just didn't work for me.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And just say one thing.
Yeah.
Eddie encompasses a lot of what makes Detroit.
Right.
He's got that attitude. He's got that flair. I think, and I can't. And maybe it's an actress's choice. Maybe it's the director's choice. Maybe it's just lousy acting. I don't know. But she definitely did give off that California vibe. That's why I can't help it. It was very contrast to Eddie.
Yeah, that's true.
And not being contrasting can be construed as like they don't have any chemistry. Two different personalities.
That's true.
So I can't help but wonder if that's what they were going for. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to be like that. maybe
get
it's
it.
the writing or whatnot.
Maybe it is, but all I know is that, like, listen, I know Joseph Gordon-Levitt is, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He's JGL.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan. As a matter of fact, this is the first time I've seen him. I feel
liked
like
him.
in a while.
I actually liked him in this movie.
I thought he was great in it.
Yeah.
I thought him and Eddie had some good
Great
chemistry.
yep.
Like, I'm like, if they were to continue this and do some more, hand it off or whatever, I said, I could see him doing that. But he can be a lead guy. Like, I'm a big fan of his work. And
I think he's the bridge between him and his daughter.
Yeah,
honestly.
and it makes sense. I don't know. Like I said, to me, maybe it was the writing. I don't know. Something just felt off with that. But again, overall, I did enjoy the movie. There was some cool scenes that happened through it. I think there was some scenes like, even though it was cool being dragged to the city where the thing was tipped over, it dragged on quite a while.
Yeah.
The action when it was there was actually surprisingly pretty all right. Like, I was surprised it was good, but like only a few times did it feel serious enough to be pushing any of the story forward.
Yeah.
And then of course, lastly, Kevin Bacon, like, they didn't lean.
You knew immediately.
You knew immediately where he was going to lay, and they weren't trying to hide that.
No,
one bit.
dude.
And that was perfectly fine because you're seeing it third person or whatever. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was all right. There's just some things I feel like
The member berries I felt were a little forced.
like, even at the end, like, I know that was a super member berry at the end.
Yeah.
Them all sitting in the car.
Yeah.
But of all the member berries they're gonna do, that was the only one where I was like, it just felt right because that was very that felt like a true homage. But a lot of the other member berries, there was some stuff that was like between even Hager and like
Rosewood
that were so on the nose. You're like, I had to roll my eyes a couple of times.
There's several.
Come on, man. Like, we get it. You know what I mean? It's been 25 years or whatever, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. I was surprised by how much I actually enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both said the helicopter scene was a little, okay, what the fuck? That was
If I'm being honest, man, I thought this movie was really strong up until that sequence.
You think so? Okay,
the Detroit stuff was fucking awesome.
The opening for the first 5 minutes was
brilliant.
all downtown Detroit. I mean, everything.
The first big thing takes place at the Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah,
I was like,
dude. You saw the Renaissance or the Rensen there.
Yeah.
You saw your favorite sculpture, the fist.
The fist.
So, but yeah, so, again, like, I was surprised. It definitely is better than the third. I feel like you could make a case that it's maybe as good maybe as the second one. I don't know. But no, overall, I think it's worth watching. But, it just definitely, if they'd have just tightened up a few things and cut out some of the member berries, I think it could have been even better.
Not only do I think we not get enough of Rosewood, I didn't like Taggart's arc at all.
No, because it just didn't. I don't know.
It was actually, man, it was really confusing because for a minute there, I thought they were. I mean, either his character is just so poorly written.
That's what.
Or he's involved.
Yeah, that's what it almost
and I was
felt
just like, man, come on, Taggart, really?
Don't do that. Yeah,
but it was so bad. And then Rose, like Judge Reinhold, it looked like they just went to Judge Reinhold's house and just said, "Here, come here and do these scenes really quick."
Yeah. Hey, you listen to Pearl Jam right now? Perfect outfit. Come hang out.
So I mean, they don't utilize those characters well enough, and when they do put them together, like you said, the member berries are just really just hard. Like they're really not subtle, they're cringy, and like I said, the opening first two acts are really good, but once we get to the helicopter sequence, I did like seeing Serge back.
I was just gonna say,
was awesome.
His member berry was okay.
Awesome.
I'm glad they at least got him involved.
And he was there and he did his thing and it was good. But
yeah.
after the helicopter sequence, the movie just kind of loses steam and it just gets a little cliched and a little kind of cringy. Not the best landing for, like you said, at the final scene, but overall, like I just felt like this is the closest thing we've gotten to a Beverly Hills Cop, a traditional, genuine Beverly Hills Cop. You got raunchy Eddie.
Finally,
you get a lot of scenes where he's doing his improv thing, getting out of situations with his mouth. He's just so good at like improv, and that part of it I appreciated. But I do hope that this is it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is a proper send off for Axel Foley. I don't know if I want them to revisit this character anymore. Because like this was like I feel like this made up for 3, but at the same time I'm like I'm good now.
Yeah.
I'm good now. I don't ever want to see another Coming to America ever again. And now that you've gone off on a higher note with this, let's leave Axel behind. We're good. Yeah. We couldn't get this with Indiana Jones after 3 attempts. Let's just be done.
3 attempts.
Or 2 attempts. 2 attempts. Leave it alone. Let's move on from Axel. But dude, get me more R-rated Eddie going forward. Let's get Eddie back out there.
Let's do something with him. I'm fine on that.
Drasten, your thoughts?
Well,
Awesome.
I thought the
Appreciate it.
character growth wasn't as good as it could have been. It being on Netflix, I'm surprised Adam Sandler wasn't in the film.
Where's Kevin James at?
Wait a second, that's not Tracy Morgan?
I'm glad we got Joseph Gordon-Levitt over here right behind my head.
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah.
Levitt.
I'm gonna fuck everybody in this building.
Yeah.
Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments
boy
below. What
pregnant.
you thought of Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley? Where do you think it stands in the entire is it a quadrilogy? Is that what
Quintet?
no, that's
It is a
five.
quadrilogy.
Quadrilogy?
Well,
Let us know where you think it stands, and let us know your overall thoughts on it. Is this a proper send off for the iconic '80s character Axel Foley? Dope ass soundtrack in Detroit. You had Bob Seger.
Yeah.
You had what's that Nasty Girl song? I was like, okay, man.
The soundtrack was actually dope.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
soundtrack was dope.